Hi folks, Rodney back again with Rodney's Northwest Riding Reviews. Today I'm going to do kind of a deep dive on the interior of my 2022 Tundra Crewmax Limited TRD Off-Road. Before I kind of get started in that, I want to kind of address a couple things that have come up as far as inventory and delays of that nature. I've mentioned it before, and I'm going to open it back up to anybody who wants to. Feel free to send me your VIN number. I'd be more than happy to check. If you've got a vehicle coming in and kind of wanting to know what the status is, be more than happy to check that for you and then kind of give you the most recent update on what I can actually see in there. Sometimes I can't see much more than what somebody's already given you, but at least it's a reaffirmation that kind of lets you know that, hey, my vehicle is on the way. Hey, what they're telling me is definitely true, and gives you a little bit of peace of mind. So anyway, like I said, feel free to do that. One of the things, I just got a person just kind of sent me a comment and said, hey, listen, you know, they told me that I ordered a vehicle back in, I think they said March, and the vehicle was supposed to be here in June, and then it got pushed back to September, and now they're telling me it's going to be another 30 to 60 days. So here's the situation. I mentioned this many times before. Toyota doesn't want us ordering vehicles. The dealerships can put in what they call a preference, and when they put the preference in, they put in exactly what you're looking for. But in order for that to ever happen, number one, they have to have an allocation. So think about this for a moment. If you have a dealership that is taking orders from people and they have, let's say, 75 people looking for a vehicle, and let's say 20 of them are looking for the same thing you are. So what that means is that they would have to have 20 different allocations for all these different people. But that vehicle will never get built if they don't have all the features that you've requested on that specific build. So for instance, if you ordered one with, let's say you ordered a Tundra Crewmax Limited model, number one, they'd have to have the allocation for that Tundra Crewmax Limited. Then let's say you ordered TRD cast aluminum running boards and they don't have them in stock. That's going to stop your order. So let's say somebody else ordered one with a tonneau cover and they didn't have any tonneau covers in stock. That will prevent that order from ever getting built. So I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that, you know, when somebody tells you they're going to order a vehicle for you, there's no guarantee that that truck will ever get built. So I'm getting a lot of people recently saying, hey, I've been waiting for 6 months. I'm not getting any updates from my dealership. They're telling me it's going to be, you know, another 60 days. Unfortunately, they're just kind of guessing. Like I said, they have to have an allocation for it. The factory has to have exactly what you're looking for in order to build that truck. And then there's no guarantees it will ever get built. So here's where it becomes really confusing. Let's say that same situation where they had 75 people put in orders and you got 20 people looking for the same truck. In that situation, let's say that first order that's put in doesn't get built because they don't have all the features. So then they go on to the next one. That next time that we get allocations, they have to put that same order back in, or I should say it stays in the order banks for a little while. And then, you know, after a few rounds, then if they don't have the features to build that truck, then they just kick it out of the system and you have to resubmit it. So in that situation where you know, you have a bunch of different people that they've ordered trucks for, and the trucks aren't being built because either they don't have the allocations or they don't have the supplies. It's just like this snowball effect that pretty soon everything just kind of gets pushed to the side, and then they start trying to sell what they actually have coming in. So, you know, when people are telling me that, hey, it's been 6 months and I don't have any updates on my truck, it does not surprise me at all. Here recently, if you haven't been watching any of my videos, I've mentioned that ever since the Tundra Hybrid came out, they've been transferring a lot of those features that you would get on the gas version model, and I'm speaking of like the Limited 1794 and Platinum Edition. They're moving those features over to the hybrid models. Now that the Sequoias come out, they're also having to move those over to the Sequoia as well. So what we're seeing is we're getting quite a few base model and SR5 models, and that could be the TRD Sport, it could be the SR5 Premium with convenience package. We're still getting those, but we're not seeing many of the Limited, the Platinum, and the 1794 editions. We are getting those trucks in the hybrid models, but we're not seeing them in the gas version. So keep that in the back of your mind there. If you're not seeing or not getting any information about, you know, where your truck's at, that's probably what's going on. But like I said, feel free to send me your VIN number. All right, let's get into this deep dive here. So I'm going to start right down here. So this is for the dome light that's on the back of the cab. On mine, I actually have the panorama view monitor. And so I have 2 cameras back there that's right next to the dome light on the back of the cab. Then of course I've got one in the front of the truck, and I've got one underneath both of the side view mirrors, and then there's one on the tailgate. So it gives you 6 cameras when you get that view monitor. This button here is for your auto dimming headlamps. This one here, a lot of people don't care for it, but it's the auto stop start feature. Now you do have the ability to shut that feature off, and so obviously by depressing that, that would turn that feature off. But the default is that every time you start the vehicle, it automatically comes back on. The other thing too I will mention is that on the auto stop start feature, it's activated by foot brake pressure. So, you know, depending on how hard you actually step on the brake determines whether it activates that stop feature or not. And I can go on for, you know, several weeks and never activate it just by the way you drive. So you'll get used to how to operate it. And like I said, it's not quite as a nuisance as what a lot of people think. This is to dim your panel lights on the dash. Your trip and odometer. This is a backup sensor. In the system it's called PKSB. I forget what the actual name of it is, but basically what it does is it detects objects as you're backing up, and it will actually lock up the brakes and prevent you from hitting something as you're backing up. The other day I started to back up at like the grocery store, and I was just starting to kind of ease backwards a little bit, and I couldn't see anything coming. But obviously the sensors from the blind spot and the rear cross traffic alert picked up a car coming down the alley and locked everything up. And it really does. It will lock it up quick. This is for your heated steering wheel. And then this one, because I have the TRD off-road, I do have the 110 outlet in the bed, and that's what that's for. With the limited model, you do pick up the power folding mirrors. You can set it up where it either, you know, folds manually, or you can set it up where when you lock the doors it will fold or not fold at all. So you do have that benefit. Over here, this is a button here for your volume control. Obviously it's a push button, so it turns on and off. You do have the dual climate control, and obviously you have the ability to sync it, so if you're the only one in the vehicle you can lock both sides into your temperature. But it's amazing how much of a difference you can actually have on the climate control. The other day, my son had jumped in and he was hot for whatever reason. I had my temperature set at 72. He jumped in and moved his down to 60, and I didn't notice it. And so after he got out of the truck, I'm driving down the road and I'm thinking, man, it is really cold in here. I can't quite figure out why. And it turned out that I looked over and I saw his temperature was set at 60, and I was over here freezing even though mine was on 72. You do have the heated and cooled seats, or ventilated seats rather. Of course, front defrost. You do have heated mirrors. They are tied in with the rear window defroster. And on the Crew Max, if you guys are not already aware, that rear window, the whole thing does go down. So that's kind of a cool feature. All right, down below, you have the backup. I forget what they call it. It's a backup assist. And so basically what it does is when you hook up to a trailer and you drive a little bit, it kind of calibrates the steering system. And so that when you go to back up, when you activate that, it actually will back the trailer up in a straight line. So you take your hands off the steering wheel and it kind of does everything for it. Traction control, obviously, hazard lights. With the TRD off-road, you do have the rear locking axle, and that's what that is. Now, these come standard with a electronic emergency brake. So as soon as you put it in park, it automatically sets the brake. As soon as you take it out of park, it automatically releases the brake. The hold button that you see, some people will call it a hill start assist. And so basically, if you pull up to a stoplight while you're waiting there for the light to change, you can actually hit the hold button, take your foot off of the brake pedal, and then once you step on the gas, it automatically releases that brake so you can take off. You got your four-wheel drive controls here. Drive mode is basically for the, you have an eco, normal, and sport mode. And so in eco mode, I kind of equate that to the vehicle has 389 horsepower with a V6 twin turbo gas version. To me, in eco mode, kind of feels like you're running around maybe like 300 horsepower. And normal, obviously, is what I drive in most of the time, because I don't really see a big benefit in fuel economy in the eco mode. Sport mode is a beast all of its own. The brake and the throttle response are quicker. I can't remember, on some of our vehicles it actually kind of tightens up the steering system to give you a little better feel for the road. I don't remember whether it does it on this one, because I don't drive it in that mode very often. Tow haul feature, anything over 3,500 pounds, you probably want to kick in the tow haul feature. The reason I say that, I do have a 14-foot cargo trailer that I have in my quad that I haul, and running around with that, it's really not enough weight to really have any reason to kind of kick it out of the overdrive gear. So I really don't activate the tow haul feature unless I have, more weight than I'm actually towing. But you have a tow haul, and then you have a tow haul plus. And basically what it does is it kicks it down in gears. It will hold your RPMs a little bit longer before it allows it to shift. But also, coming down mountains, it will actually help you use its compression to help slow the vehicle down as well. You do have the multi-terrain select, so you can kind of dictate what type of terrain you're going to be on. And that's activated or used with the crawl control. And so with the crawl control, basically what it does is use the analog braking system on each individual wheel. And so when you hit the multi-terrain select, you're selecting the type of the terrain that you're going to be on. So for instance, if you're in sand or gravel, you want the tires to spin a little bit more, in sand that is. But if you're in like snow and ice, obviously you want to spin less. So like I said, it uses the analog braking system on each individual wheel to get you ultimate traction, or to allow for certain slippage. And then, like I said, that is for your crawl control. Up top here, obviously you can see I do have the panoramic sunroof. This button right here is to, excuse me, that button there is to lower the rear window down. This one here will open and close your sunroof. It does have a shade, and when the sunroof is closed, you can close the shade, but when you open up the sunroof, it automatically opens up the shade. But when you go to close it, you do have to manually close the shade. This one over here is just for this top part here. So the sunroof separates, and then so the back part is stationary. The front part will open up and also ventilate, and so that's what this button is for over here. You do have an SOS button. If anybody's not familiar with that, think of it like an OnStar on GM products. And so the way it's set up, if you get into an accident and it triggers the airbags to deploy, that will send a signal to Toyota, which in return will contact you, or at least try to contact you, in the event of an accident and their airbags deploy. If you don't respond back to them within a certain period of time, they will actually send an ambulance to your location. The other benefit too is, let's say for instance, you're out somewhere and you have no cell phone reception, but yet you run out of fuel. Because that works off a satellite, it does give you the ability to hit that button. As soon as they answer, they're going to ask you if it's emergency or non-emergency, and then you can actually have them, or request them, send somebody to your location. And obviously them being able to get in contact with them satellite is a huge benefit. Okay, on the steering wheel, this is your circle back button, and so this pertains to the center screen up here. It always takes you back to the previous screen. Excuse me. Your left and right operates the center screen as well. You got your volume controls. Your up and down and your OK button there also pertain to the center screen. And so that really comes in handy on things of like setting up for a specific type of trailer for your braking system, or you can also set up for multiple trailers. So depending on which trailer you hook up to, you can go in there and select which one it is. But then it also helps with your safety screen. So when you go in there and like turning lane departure on or off, or setting up the lane centering, that will definitely help. On this side, you can quickly turn that lane departure feature on or off. Let's say you're going through a construction zone and you can't see the lines, or I should say the camera can't see the lines. What would happen is it's going to start giving you an audible alert if you have it set up on the beep mode. But if you have it set up on the vibrate mode, you can actually, you'll feel the vibration through the steering wheel. This is your adaptive cruise control. So when you're out on the highway, you set the cruise at the speed that you want. You lock in the tracking distance between you and the person in front of you. In my vehicles, and there's 3 lines that come up. The 3 lines seems like about 10 car lengths, 2 seems like about 7 car lengths, and 1 seems like about 5. Your mode button here goes from AM to FM to Bluetooth to satellite, and things of that nature. That is kind of it for most of the buttons. Now, one I should mention here, right underneath the rear view mirror, you have your home link right here, so you can program in a garage door opener or electric gate. This button right here activates the digital rear view mirror. And so not only do you have a regular rear view mirror, you also have a camera on the back of the cab. So that way, if you have cargo in the bed and it's blocking the view where you can't see out the back window, then you can flip it over and use that camera that's actually up a little bit higher and gives you still a view of what's behind you. And then this one here actually operates that digital rear view mirror. So you can like tilt it if you wanted to, or you can move it over to the side a little bit. And basically what you're doing is you're just kind of changing the angle of your view. But then you can also dim or brighten it too. So that is most of it. I've kind of gone through, I've got a separate video that talked about the panorama view monitor. So I'm not going to try to throw that in here on this one. Maybe another time I'll go in there and kind of talk about all the safety features, because that can get a little bit in depth. And I need a little more time to do that. So I appreciate you guys watching. Like I said, feel free to send me your VIN number and I can give you an update on the current status. If you have any more questions, any comments, don't hesitate to send them my way. And thanks again for watching.